That's a
No, it's
fact.
not.
Do you want me to bring up the song?
Bring up the song.
What
You know
song?
it has to be posted.
Give me a
What the
minute.
fuck?
So
Why is
before
my computer
before
doing-
Hamilton was
I
a
don't want
thing,
water.
there was this musical that was about Muppets that were adults.
Huh?
Long story.
Avenue Q.
Avenue Q, yeah.
What? I could purchase animals?
Okay. We're just gonna. I'm already recording, by the way, so let's just do our
Great.
our silence.
I got animals. Oh my.
There's a WoW version of it too.
Kyle.
Guys, I'm kind of trying to start the podcast.
I think this should be a part of the open. This should be part of the intro.
I
Dude.
will add a few seconds of that if I can. Hopefully, YouTube
I think you need
won't
to
flag
have
it.
Gerbs go, oh my.
Oh my.
Okay,
Oh
now that we have the
my.
oh my's, we're good. Okay. Hello and welcome to Stream of Gaming, a weekly podcast on gaming, film, music, and pop culture from an artist's perspective. As always, if you'd like to support the podcast, please visit patreon.com/streamofgaming. The more help we can get, the more platforms we can publish in, the more content we can bring to you. And also, remember, you can email us at streamofgaming@gmail.com. We are back up to full strength this week. As always, I'm Brent.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Gibbs.
And I'm Marcus.
And we
He's
have
Gerbs.
I'm Gerbs. And I'm welcome to the podcast from the confines of my couch, since apparently half my apartment currently doesn't have power.
What?
So like, side story before I begin. Yesterday, my fiance noticed that the main light in our living room was flickering. And then she left to go to work, and then I realized that the light was actually off, and so I went back and I thought that I had a bad bulb, which I'm like, this is an LED. It shouldn't be going bad for like another 15 years. And then after poking around a bit, I realized that the outlet that it came from, which was also the outlet that my computer and all of my computer-related electronics are on, is all off, as well as the fan that's in my dining room and one other outlet. So basically 2 whole walls of my apartment have no circuit going through them. So I had to remove my laptop over to a different part of my apartment and set it up on top of like a space heater and a bunch of other stuff that's currently off, so that I could actually record this tonight. Thank God for
You
Wi-Fi.
record in the comforts of your own home.
Well, I mean, I am on my couch, so it's not that bad.
I'm in the local McDonald's. I'm getting some really weird looks right now.
Wait, I thought that you and Gerbs were going to record
get a
together
Big
so you could
Mac.
drink. I
Get some
I
fries
thought the
with
plan
that.
was that you and Gerbs were going to just go somewhere where you could mutually drink while recording.
You don't drink at McDonald's?
Okay, point.
What do you think they have in their coffee cup?
I mean,
Wow.
Okay.
how dare you record and be comfy while you do so, and lay back on your
So,
couch and have some fun while this podcast is not.
We have
fun.
we have some ideas for a topic this week, but I wanted to start off. There's any
No.
news you guys want to discuss at all?
No.
No.
Okay.
That could go on forever.
Oh, it always could. It always could. Well, so our topic for this week is games that had some kind of moral or I guess higher meaning that we want to like just generally talk about, and not necessarily like any one, but like if you know, any groupings thereof. Gerbs, you actually thought of this topic. Did you have anything off the top of your head that came to mind?
Well, I was thinking, like, you know how our parents always say, like, video games don't teach you crap?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do. Something.
Well, they didn't actually say that. They just thought that I wasn't paying enough attention to homework, but that's another story.
That's besides the point.
Yeah.
It's easy, though.
Well, a game I was thinking of is Fable, where whatever decision you make kind of affects the game. I mean, like, everyone said being evil is what you want to do. I didn't do evil. It was really hard because I wanted to kill things. That
I could
sounded
see that
wrong.
in video games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This could go so many different ways.
I'm a mass killer Just say it, Brett.
You're not supposed to do that. That's how you get caught.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Tucker did it.
Yeah, Tucker did do it. I don't know.
But-
I blame Donut.
No, but sometimes like there's games you're like, should I do this or should I not?
So
Like-
things where like where your decision, you have to make a choice, and it's either something good or something bad. So it takes that role playing to another level,
Mhm.
Right.
because it gives you the option of doing something that you might agree with, or doing something that you might absolutely not agree with.
It's like, why did I do that?
Oh yeah,
But
I
why
can see
though?
that. Something that just kind of jumps in mind when I was one of my more recent episodes of Knights of the Old Republic 2 over on my channel. I go and talk to Atten, and he goes, "Yo, man, you should probably get some sleep. You don't look well." Well, I'm going a dark side route, so I'm a dick to people. Essentially, I run around going, I'm better than you, and if you don't agree, I'm gonna kill you.
Mhm.
That's how the character is, and it shows in my appearance. Whereas I could
Excuse
take
me,
the good
sorry.
side route, and the light side route, and no one's gonna bat an eye when I walk down the street. Whereas taking the dark side route, it affects my physical appearance. So the game, in a sense, tells you you should go light side because you're gonna look pretty.
This is true. I believe Mass Effect also has some kind of a glowy effect for the evil person.
Yeah. You kind of even see that in something like Infamous on the PlayStation, and it changes powers and skills that unlock too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of one of those. Well, I want to have this power, but I've got to completely change how I'm playing the game in order to unlock it, and there's really no coming back from.
Yep.
Because I think systems like that are really cool, but at the same point in time, there might be a time where you see a character and just go, "No, I'm not helping you. I've seen how you treat people," and that has a huge impact on the rest of the game. So it's really hard because you want to. It's rewarding to go one extreme one side or the other. To go right down the middle is so not taken seriously. They don't want you to do that. They want you to go to one extreme. Again, to use KOTOR as an example, if you go extreme light side or dark side, you get a bonus.
I like
And what-
bonuses.
Right. You get, I think in KOTOR, if you go full on light side, you either get when you reach the max amount of points you can get into it, you get a +3 or +4 to your strength. Or at least that's what I've got. It could just be how I'm building. But that's what you got. Whereas when I first got the game, I told the guy that lent me the disc, because that was before it was on Steam. I actually had to run it with a CD. And I said, I'm going to go full Gray Jedi because I align myself as a Gray Jedi. There's no way you're going to be able to do that. I did. It was incredibly difficult, but did it. But otherwise, I don't learn lessons from video games. GTA 5 has taught me if I don't like what a hooker is, I just kill her.
Well, okay.
Kill hookers.
So
Oh my god.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways of saying what counts as morality. I mean, there's a series that we've talked about quite a bit on this podcast that actually talks a lot about morality without like really being like Mother Goose about it at all. It's a lot more advanced, and that's BioShock, because like the first BioShock is about the dangers of Randist philosophy, and then the second one is like the dangers of the opposite of that, which is like collectivist philosophy, and then Infinite is like, well, the first half anyways is about religious intolerance and racism. The second half takes a bit more of a science fiction angle, but that's definitely something that comes to mind.
Yeah, multiple universes.
BioShock is
Yeah.
science fiction.
What?
I thought it was fiction. Someone told me it actually happened.
No.
Tucker did it.
Wait,
I got
I'm sorry.
lied to.
Are you
They're
suggesting that normal?
fictional histories.
Wait. I from that I got that science fiction is things that didn't happen. Fiction is things that
I
did
realized
happen.
right
Wait,
away
what?
that I messed up.
Okay.
So I meant nonfiction.
Okay.
But whatever.
Okay.
In the end, I was trolling.
Okay.
Great.
He was trolling.
Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Oh, God.
Trollolololo.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can even take a look at it from a game that we mentioned before, where we don't even think about good and bad, but makes you just kind of take a step back as to what you're doing in the world, or just take another look at the world around you, and that's inside.
Very much so.
Not a word spoken, but there's a lot of implication in there that just really makes you wonder. And when you're done, you just kind of walk away and go, huh.
Yeah, well, it makes you you kind of like, even though there's no words spoken, you can kind of be like, oh man, what brought these people to do the things that they did? You know, especially later on in the last chapter, where you're kind of just like, big spoilery thing that I'm not going to say because everyone should just go out and buy and play Inside. But yeah, when big spoilery thing happens and people react to it, you're like, well, you guys kind of brought this upon yourselves. And like kind of looking at it from their angle, and yeah, there's some really cool stuff with that. When I think about, morality in games, I think usually a lot about RPGs, and Fable was probably one of the first games that you did stuff with that, but I never really thought it had much of an effect other than like your appearance occasionally, because eventually if you were really, really bad, you could grow horns and stuff. But like, and then like if you were good, like really, really good, you like started glowing white. Like it was really intense. But like
circus fire.
Yeah, like that circus fire. So
Or like camping.
Like that circus fire?
yeah,
Wait,
it was in it
Think
was
about it.
it was intense.
Like
oh
camping.
God, that was a horrible pun.
Welcome to one of the main jokes of my life. So
I don't know if he's more disappointed as to the joke itself or how long it took him to get it.
Both.
Great. Well, now you know, and the more you know. Anyway,
Bum 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 bum.
the more you know. So
The reading rainbow.
but I almost thought, and I know we've had in-depth discussions about this already, and it's a fairly divisive issue on this podcast. But the decisions of bad decision versus good decision, bad decision, I think
Are we talking Animaniacs?
Are really huge in Witcher.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because there are decisions you make, and I guess in games like Skyrim too, Skyrim and Fallout have like these points where you're like, well, if I do this, it's gonna suck for these people, and I kind of like them. They're not the best, but they're okay. And then if I do this other thing, it's gonna suck for these other people, which I'm also not 100% fond of, but also not. I don't love these people, so I don't wish any harm on necessarily anyone.
Pretty much the entire
whatever decision you make, people are going to get hurt.
Pretty
or
much
you just choose not to make a decision because it doesn't make an effect either way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like
some games they make it so you have to make a choice, and you're like, well, shit, am I either going to destroy this town, which can affect later parts of the game because it's like, well, side quests that would have been available in that town no longer exist because that town no longer exists. Or you can, do some other bad stuff. Those are really interesting situations that happen in video games.
And then you have quests like the.
It comes down to that whole subjective of what is good and what is bad.
Oh,
because it brings it to that layer. Because in Skyrim, obviously, the big point that we're talking about, it's not really a spoiler. It's either picking between Stormcloaks and the Imperials.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, which one is good? Well, good again is subjective. Based on what is the norm. Now, normally I side with the Stormcloaks. That's just how I saw it. Because I thought the Imperials were definitely crushing on the regime that was trying to restore balance to Tamriel. But again, you can kind of see it from the other side is, well, which one's really bad?
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt
Don't
me.
hurt me
No more.
Okay.
But it really comes down to that, and it makes that question even deeper. Takes it to
Mhm.
that whole nother philosophical level of what is good? Do I really know what good is?
Yeah.
Do you?
Good, yeah, because good is just a construct that is built by society to like
We're
make
getting
sure
so
that we're all
freaking
going in
deep
one
already.
direction.
And it's the normalcy of certain ideas.
Wait, One
and
Direction? Like the-
decisions
the
to do.
band?
No, not the band. You silly.
I don't know. It's
Oh,
morality in games is just all depends on how you want to look at it, and it can inspire some multiple playthroughs depending on the decisions that
Mm-hmm.
you make through it. Do you agree with one side? Do you agree with the other?
Yeah.
Again, Stormcloaks and the Imperials. Do you agree with one or the other?
yes.
Ultimately, that becomes probably the second biggest decision to make in the game,
Yes.
outside of killing the voice of Mario or letting the voice of Mario live.
Yes.
The voice of Mario. Wait. What are we talking about now?
Parthenax the dragon is voiced by the guy who does Mario.
Oh, okay.
It's a me.
It's a me,
It's a me, Parthenax.
the best dragon in all of Skyrim.
Well, with a name like Parthenax.
I mean, that's pretty dope. Now, here's a question that I thought of while you were saying that.
42.
Maybe.
That's my answer.
Okay. My subversion of the idea is or a tangent of the idea. So we just talked a little bit here and there about like here's some games that we've played that like bring in the questions of morality. Now the question is what games possibly are game types or what are like we've talked a lot about our different various favorite games, but a lot of those games they have one path, you know, they don't really have a lot of choice. They might not necessarily teach a lot of morality lessons, but which of those would you like to have those kinds of options inside of like a universe? Pokemon? Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Why don't,
Like
why don't I get the
Do
option
you
of,
sacrifice
join Team Rocket after I
Pikachu?
get Bridge?
Yeah, right? Like you should get the option. Either that or like have like a bigger impact like in I think is it in second gen where they're doing all the Slowpoke tail stuff? Yeah, like wouldn't it be cool to be like, hey, I want to break off from like my main quest of like beating these gyms and like have an active role in either selling Slowpoke tail or stopping Team Rocket from selling Slowpoke tail, you know, like
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying because they asked the question, but the problem with the Pokemon games is the silent protagonist role, really, where you don't get any choice outside of who are you taking with you, fight your pets with other pets, make some money, beat some gym battles.
What do you mean
Glad
I'm
we
eating a
rinse repeat.
Toro steak?
I'm okay with it. Taro steak is supposedly delicious. Magikarp's a delicacy.
yeah, like the silent protagonist thing is a problem because I mean one of my favorite video games is Legend of Zelda. Any of those games in that franchise, and even with Breath of the Wild, where they give you some options of like, okay, do you want Link to, you know, say this or suggest this or this other thing? And upon playing the game a couple of times, they both essentially get you to the same point. Or this like either you can be kind of like just straight to the point, or you can be comical about it, and then either way you'll find out the same information. So it'd be really cool to like actually make some decisions in the world. I mean, when you pick up something like Legend of Zelda, you are taking on the mantle of being the hero of time or whatever part of the Zelda universe you're in. So your path is set in that way, but like making decisions is to like, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say because I guess, you know, Breath of the Wild is probably the game that's closest to that in the series because you can literally once you get off the main plateau, you can go any direction you want. And you could potentially just beat the boss right at the beginning. You could go and try to beat Ganon right from the start.
It's just one.
Yeah, trying to figure out which way to go with silent protagonists like that is always a little tougher because Link is typically established as he brings order, restores the good to the world because the evils come on in. And there's no deviation from it. So a silent protagonist like that's a little more difficult. But I mean, just thinking of it right now, because I know Gerbs really likes to play these games. Roller Coaster Tycoon kind of works with morality a little bit too. You try to follow a little bit. It's a little bit of a stretch. But
Should I kill my patrons? Let's decide.
You can set up all of the restaurants that you want and provide accommodations, or you can give them 0 bathrooms.
And you can put a do not enter sign at the exit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so
they're
you can't.
constantly trapped.
Yeah, people can't leave and they keep vomiting all over the
I am
place.
doing-
Right. And if someone doesn't like your ride, you just take the criticism in stride rather than dump in the pond that you haven't built anything on.
The same you could say about like Zoo Tycoon, which is one of my favorite ways to play Zoo Tycoon, which is get people in and then trap them in,
Get
and
them in,
release the lions.
and then let the lions in too.
Oh my!
It's kind of like Sims at that
God.
point.
Yeah.
Someone is evil.
I mean, if
just in Zoo Tycoon.
I mean, even with the question of morals, this may seem like a bit of a stretch here, but hear me out on this one. Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh, that is a huge morality game.
Right, because no matter what you do,
You're
you change the outcome because
yeah.
that's just how it is. It's gonna mess with your mind in the process and
Yeah.
make you not sleep for a week and
Sleep.
constant nightmares.
I don't
I'm
wanna
still
look at
waiting to hear an explanation of what in the world that game is.
Yes, I think it's the best answer.
Okay.
42. I mean,
just yes. 42 overcomplicates things.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game. It's a dating sim game where
It's a
the game is
horror
alive.
dating-
Okay.
It's a game where no matter your decision, the outcome is going to the outcome that happens cannot be changed, no
Mhm.
matter what you do.
So
And the
what you're
game knows-
basically saying is Doki Doki Literature Club is the anime version of the Red Baron quest from Witcher. Got it.
What?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm trying to remember what. I'm,
okay.
I'm trying to remember what that.
The Red Baron quest is like the quest in Witcher
Oh,
3
yeah.
where no matter you can change the outcome, but no matter what you do, everyone is fucked in some way. Like
Yep.
everyone.
No, so
kind,
this
kind
is
of in Doki
kind
Doki
of,
in DDLC. But the only person that's fucked is you.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Because
well, that's not true. I mean,
I'm looking
Yeah.
at my webcam like I'm looking at you, but I know you're not there.
Or am I?
that's
This
such a
one
meta
doesn't
thing.
really-
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah, it's one of those shitty things happen and it fucks you
Yep.
for the sheer fact of
Well, and then
at least the first big shitty thing is just that is so incredibly real.
yeah.
And I tried to stop it and it didn't stop. And there was nothing I could do that stopped it once you finally realize it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit. No matter what I did, I tried so hard.
Yeah. You
Just
can do
to
stuff
fail.
later. You can do stuff later on to change
Right.
outcomes, but it is extremely meta. If you've never watched it all the way through,
Watch Game Grumps do it. I've heard their playthrough
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
I bet.
Danny from them, I've heard, is still messed up from playing it.
Yeah, it's
I've not
The-
gone back to finish it.
yeah. I've noticed, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
I've got the recording of it sitting there, and
Well,
want-
yeah. See, that's the other thing too.
I don't want to edit it because it's just one. I'm not pleased with how I played it, but I've got it sitting there. It just I want to go back and finish it all the way through, but at the same point in time, I don't.
Yeah.
because
Like if you're gonna
I've
die.
done the bad thing. Listen to I watched a Zero Punctuation review of it and just kind of went, yeah, I can kind of see that now. I don't want to do this anymore. But that's a trip and a half.
Yeah.
Man, morality is an interesting thing.
Well, I remember playing Grand Theft Auto. I'm not saying it right.
Grand Theft Auto.
When I was a
GTA.
kid.
It goes
Yeah.
together. GTA for
And-
sure.
I was like, I could do anything. And like, yeah, there's consequences, but like, it doesn't affect me. So, yeah, I didn't have the best friend showing me when I was young how to play the game, and I kind of beat a grandma to death to get the money
I mean, it's part of
with a
GTA.
baseball bat.
Yeah, that happens.
It's instead of a pool cue.
Well, the baseball bat was in my inventory already. Stop playing with him.
No, I do what I want. Don't tell me how to live my life.
What's going on?
I
He's playing with him.
So Gerbs and Marcus are in the same location.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
That's a
I hear
that's
a
a thing
bouncing
to
of some
preface
kind.
out there. But the developers of the two visual novels I play, Ace Academy and Crystalline, Pixel Fade Studios, I backed them on Patreon.
Okay.
And shortly after I did, I realized they had a store that was open
Mhm.
for and they finally opened the store that only sells one thing, and that is they have plushies of the Pongo that's in Crystalline. And
Okay.
I bought one,
Yeah.
and he is my new best friend.
It's adorable.
This is only
He is
friend.
absolutely adorable, and how he's made the fur stands up on end. So I was petting him to fix his fur because he looks like a tangled mess, and
Yeah, you
it's
can
the
say
first
what
time
you
I've touched
want.
him in like most of the recording.
Yeah, okay.
So of course he says something of, "Why are you playing with the thing?" He's just mad because I turned him away, so he wasn't smiling at Gerbs.
Thanks.
I think GTA 5 still just a very interesting, perfect or a good example of just using morality. Because from the only one I've ever really played is GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
I've not finished the story, but the one thing that stands out in particular to me is the one scene, I don't remember what leads up to it, where Michael goes on up and literally pulls a guy's mountainside deck on his house off with his vehicle. Oh, it's the trainer that
Michael has some ups and downs in that game.
right, and this is the big thing. He's like, "Oh, holy shit! Why are you doing this?" That's granted. I believe he assumes the trainer is sleeping with his wife, but that seems like an overreaction.
Wait, is this when he finds the characters from Lost in the Damned from GTA 4?
I'm so lost.
There's a biker gang
I've only
in a
played GTA
DLC.
5. I've not played any.
Okay, there's a very, very large DLC for GTA 4 called Lost in the Damned, which is where you take up you play as this guy in this like leather biker gang kind of, hardcore, go to the bar, screw everything kind of group. And then there's a part of the story in GTA 5 where your character runs into them just because they're like on the outskirts of town, just like being their trashy selves, and you kill one of them for being with the wrong person or something like that. It might be that.
No, that sounds like something Trevor would do.
Trevor would do. Okay, anything in that game that sounds crazy, you could say Trevor would do that, and you are absolutely correct.
You could say anything in that game, Trevor would be absolutely.
That time when he blew up a balloon by squishing that guy's head, like you could just make up any words and you'd be like, "Yep, that's Trevor."
Marcus.
Pretty much. That's my name. Don't wear it out. But yeah, no, this is like really, really early on in the game. I don't think I got more. I think 20% through the story would be very generous. I kind of stopped after a while, so I need to restart and go on back. But I don't know. Morality in games is definitely an interesting topic because there are things that teach us good things, and some that don't teach us good things.
But the game I really think about morality is Heavy Rain. I don't know if you guys ever played it. It's on PS3, obviously.
Sean. It's like the only thing I know that it's a mystery, and I know that there's a glitch that has to do with Sean. That's like the extent of my knowledge of Heavy Rain.
Same.
It's all the feels. Like every decision affects everything. And you have to move your controller in a certain way, otherwise characters will die. If you don't roll out the car quick enough, you'll get a serious accident.
Okay.
And you'll be paralyzed. Yeah, like it's really based on your movement, what you decide to do.
Like a real-time event sort of thing?
Yeah, it's real time.
Rather than just making a decision, do you kill this guy? Yes or no? Which would be different.
Mm-hmm.
But not something I'd necessarily go out and buy a PlayStation of any kind to play.
I told him he can borrow my PS3.
Nah. I'll find an emulator. Eventually.
What? I don't have enough fun?
Oh, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I can't really think of any other games though that I've played. I've got my Steam up just thinking through it because most of the games I've played in the past are very, very linear. Not much you can do with any Need for Speed game in terms of morality. You're just kind of set in the path of climb back to the top, win, beat all the guys, gain the territory, win the cars.
I guess
on with your day.
Morality also could be how you play the game, like how defensive you are or how offensive you are.
Yeah, being aggressive and passive.
Yep.
Oh, the one game that kind of might be another bit of a stretch is Def Jam's Fight for New York.
Oh God, there's been a Def Jam game in ages.
They haven't been good since New York. There's a reason you can't find any new copies of New York for Xbox or PlayStation 2. Because they're crazy expensive, or people just don't want to get rid of them.
I was crazy.
But, I mean, the game is very straightforward. Winning fights, you're doing good things. You're fighting for people that helped you out in a time of need, and doing good things. You're building good friendships along the way. Then something happens where the story turns and you see your character go through a notable shift. Because at the end of each fight, when you win, you do a taunt, and that's the big thing. But when the big shift happens, even your character knows you're not doing good things anymore. Because you see the after fight screen and he's just silent and walks away. And I think when most of the time, for the good majority of the game, you're being this cocky, up-and-coming Street Fighter guy, to all of a sudden being stone cold serious and walking away after a fight without saying a word, that's huge. So your character knows I'm doing something I don't agree with, and you don't agree with, but you have no choice. Exactly. Your morals are taken away from you.
No choice.
No, you do have a choice. It's either you do what you're told or something bad happens. But you don't get to something bad happens. You just do what you're told. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
I bought a Sims game.
Oh, you're going to have questionable morals the entire time.
Oh, God.
Dude, I was young. And the first thing you had to do was to have sex with this girl in the hot tub in order to continue.
What?
I don't
and
remember The Sims being that
This is
provocative.
not a part of The Sims.
I remember it being
was.
like, you can get a job as an astronaut and then find the aliens. Like, that's what I remember The Sims being.
Well, you know what? I had to
If it-
return that game because parents like, "What are you doing?"
I want
was
to know what Sims
like-
game this was.
I don't remember.
Long time ago.
Long
Been
time
blocked from your
ago.
memory. Don't recall.
It was the Sims with 3 silent X's.
Twas the night before Christmas.
Wait. Sims triple X, but they're silent? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Why are they like triple X? I understand, but why are they silent?
Because then the game could still be called Sims.
Okay, sure.
Or
I
maybe-
saw the logic, no problem.
Yeah, get on my level here.
I was about to say something.
He's getting very
Yes.
meta.
Yeah.
I can't think of all too much that I've really played where I have that big of an impact on the world around me, where it's kind of put my own thoughts into play. Sure, Ace Academy makes me kind of wonder, okay, what would I really say to this girl in this situation based on the prompts that are given in front of me? But I really wouldn't say that's a question of morality. It's deciding, do I want to be somewhat smooth and just turned out that Pixel Fade wrote this in an interesting way where I sound creepy, or do I just plan out take the creepy route?
All right. To make it even more crazy, think of movies where the character had to really struggle with his moral.
I mean, that's
Why?
like
movies could certainly be a
half
whole
the point
nother
of
thing.
movies.
That's a whole nother thing, man.
I know.
That could take up a whole nother time too.
Well,
might be a topic
just
for
come up
another
with, like,
day.
a couple examples. Gosh, you
Oh, a
don't have to
couple
go, like,
examples for it?
a laundry.
Oh man, So
I
many.
think the first ones that come to mind, well, there's lots of movies about whether or not a person is a robot or not. Or, and the one that really comes up with morality for me is Blade Runner.
Well, that like the entire first movie, like the whole subplot is
Mhm.
wait, is he
Is he a robot or is he not? And they leave it kind of ambiguous.
Marcus is a robot. I know it.
I never told you that. You're just assuming things.
I know you
Mhm.
are.
Just because I'm dead inside doesn't mean I'm a robot.
Well, and then you get the two, like, there's a lot of science fiction movies that kind of question these things. Think about like have any of you ever seen the movie Soylent Green?
no.
I mean,
Do you know the plot
familiar
twist of Soylent Green?
I'm familiar
No.
enough. It's a pretty infamous thing.
Yeah, so well in the movie of Soylent Green, it's this post-apocalyptic kind of world. Not really post-apocalyptic, I guess. It's just like human population has risen so high that there's a food shortage. And so this company named Soylent, they work really hard to make cheap food that people can afford, because things are very, very expensive. Like actual food is very expensive to actually have. And well, while this is happening, they release this food that's called Soylent Green. And in the midst of this, the main character is a detective, and he's looking into all these different murders that are happening. And they have no idea what's going on. And eventually he finds out there's this conspiracy by this large company, Soylent, that they were taking people away and euthanizing them and then turning them into food. And
Oh my.
and that's what Soylent Green was. So like the big, I mean, it's been long enough of a movie been out that the spoiler is well known by most people. But like, yeah, the one of the last taglines is the character he's getting dragged out of this place, and he's trying to convince people. He's like, don't eat it. Like Soylent Green is people. Like don't.
Wow.
Right. So, but like, given that situation where the human population is so high that people and that food itself is so scarce, would we turn to cannibalism or would we as a society still think that it's morally wrong? And when I say and they were euthanizing, it was old people. They weren't just like going out and like there were a handful of people, and that's what led him to it. There were a handful of people that were killed, but then after they were killed, they were collected and turned into food. But yeah, it's an interesting movie. If you haven't seen it, even though you know the main plot point right now, it's an interesting movie to watch because it was a concept of a movie. Like the movie was made like in the 70s or something. Yeah, 73, and it's an interesting movie, if nothing else.
I'm thinking of another one that kind of pops to mind. It was a Justin Timberlake film that was done probably.
Are you talking about In Time?
Yeah, In Time.
In Time is great.
Yeah, it's one of those. For those of you who don't know, In Time, the whole point of In Time is everyone is born with like a clock that is on their forearm. It is something that is just how humans have evolved. If I remember correctly,
something like that, or it is
something that is a part of you. And when you turn like 28 or something like that, it's before you turn 30. It's before that. This clock turns on and starts counting down. So it's always got a set amount and it clocks down. And the only way you can increase it that's the currency, is time.
Yeah. So you can
take a whole other look at, rather than getting paid in money like we do now, you get paid in time. So
and when you purchase things, so when you go out and you purchase food, they take time from you.
But the whole big thing that kind of sparks the whole thing in the movie is you can share your time with others. So Justin Timberlake's character is really close to his mother, and the two of them share their time. So he goes out, he works, he makes money, and shares the time he makes with her to keep her living. Because once that clock hits 0, you're dead. So the rich and wealthy live forever because they have hundreds upon millions of hours of time. So they can essentially live forever until all their time runs out.
Yeah. And then like the major like sparking point is that somehow his character acquires through like a randomized like lottery or something it gets deposited to him. He gets like a very, very large amount of time. And so he gets this like target on his back because they're like, wait, how did this guy get this much time? And it's an interesting movie.
And it's something that kind of brings up, would you share your time like that with your immediate family? Because he gets really upset at one point in time when he gets paid at the end of the week, and the time they give him is significantly less than what he was supposed to be making. And they just kind of say, well, tough, put up with it. So it kind of takes things into a different perspective of how we really look at things. Because when you think about it, if all the money you had went to 0, there is no debt, you die.
Yeah.
Makes you take a whole nother look as to the decisions you're making. I know with all the school and everything, I'd be gone a long time ago. And we haven't hit 30 yet. Great. Isn't that scary to think?
Yeah.
I don't know. The movies, you could certainly...
You can go a long time on. Yeah, well, because people... because video games are a genre that people have not 100... like a lot of storytellers have not jumped on board to, but movies have been a thing for a long time that storytellers and writers and poets and stuff, they've latched to because they see it as a medium that they can share their message with, and video games haven't quite gotten there. There obviously, as we've talked a lot, there are lots of games that go into these high concept issues, but it's hard to include people in them without writing a script, right?
Or
Mo-
even so, the
yeah.
one thing that kind of comes to my mind that you just talking about high topic issues is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the airport.
Oh yeah, holy cow.
That's something, but instead of giving you the option and having to not shoot up the airport,
Yeah.
it really doesn't give you a choice, because if
No,
you don't shoot up the airport,
they shoot you.
they shoot you and you have to go back and make the decision to shoot up the airport.
Yeah, and you can't shoot them.
Right.
And it's one of those, it'd be interesting to see a game that gave you a tough decision like that, where that is a real world issue right in front of you. It's real people. It's
Mhm.
not some foreign, far off world. It is something you can easily relate to happening, and you have to make the decision: do I do this or do I not? What happens if I choose not to, and what happens if I choose to?
I'm glad you brought up the example. I forgot about that.
Because
Yeah,
that was a big issue.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Because you can go on through. I think you could, if I remember correct, you can just fire shots. So you don't necessarily have to kill anybody, but you still have to essentially you have to take part in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you cannot advance in the game.
That's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Granted, at that point, you can just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to play multiplayer anyways.
Yeah.
No, I love the campaign.
Yeah, the campaign was
Scotty's.
yeah, Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 were some of the best in that series, I think.
And their multiplayer wasn't bad in that either.
Oh no, their multiplayer was great. But yeah, the storylines were really good, and how they handled that worked really well.
But Marcus.
Yeah, it's one of those. Gotta make. I'd like to see games like that where you can go a little further in that story.
Mm-hmm.
With the decision you make, rather than them just saying no, you're stuck in doing this. Because I had a friend who played that scene and just went, no, I don't want to do this. And that person also goes through games like Skyrim and goes, I don't want to go ahead and kill random people for the sake of doing it. If they're good people, like stuff like the Dark Brotherhood quest, he probably wouldn't do,
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't see the point to doing it.
Brent, are you dark?
I'm not dark.
Good.
How? Nancy, that is an
Dark
ambiguous
good?
question.
Dark could be good. Depends
Yeah.
on your question of normalcy and morality.
Sure.
Dum, ba, bum.
Am I the hero the
Kinda
podcast
like,
needs
is
or the one it
Thanos
deserves
really
right
a
now?
bad guy?
Yeah.
Or are the Avengers the bad guys?
Kyle, are
Mhm.
you? Kyle, is Brent evil?
Depends on your definition.
Yeah, it depends on your definition. It depends on your point of. Because like when you look at a lot of different things, even in the course of history, like if you look at, I don't have one right off the top of my head, but like let's say you're looking at like a leader who's trying to unite their country, and they see that as like, yeah, let's do it, and they do it by these, but what other people might think are horrific means, their country sees it as we're sharing our wealth and blah 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 blah, and like we're making people more like us, and they think that's a good thing. But then you look at the other part of the world, and they're like, no, this is terrible. You're forcing this on people.
Like how Alexander the Great really fucked up Egypt a whole lot.
Yeah. Yep. So it's all that's why it's I always kind of hate this, but that's why it's called history, because it's his story. It's based on who
It's a
tells the story.
It's a
and
series of
who's-
stories
Yeah,
in which dudes go and just wreck shit up.
yeah, terrible.
And then fuck up and go away, and then we have to realize that's what you don't do.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a tough question to say. Is someone evil or not? Because you know what, like, yeah, because you look at what people do, and you're like, what was their intent? That might be a better question. Is their intent for a greater good? Is their intent designed to help?
Good. I'm
No.
the greatest good
You're ever gonna get.
gonna get.
I can tell
that was
I
a
can-
really
I
drunk
can
retelling.
tell that Gerbs is quite a bit into his drink.
He's a few in.
No, his drink's gone.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, what kind of drink was it?
It was
the alcoholic
It
kind.
was the adult kind.
Well, obviously.
I don't think it was obvious.
I
It
mean,
was
if it
part
wasn't an
Coca-Cola,
adult
part
variety, I'd be
Vodka.
like, it would be kind of weird if he got drunk drinking a bunch of ices. Like that's not normal.
Fuck
I mean,
that.
what if I made the ices with vodka?
Yeah, there you go.
But that automatically makes them adult again. They're adult ices then.
Fine. Yeah.
I'm failing to see the point though. He could be drinking an icy. I said it's an adult icy.
Yes, but I was like,
Huh?
okay, are we talking beer? Are we talking whiskey? Are we what is the drink of the night?
Ah,
We're
Okay.
talking.
We're talking
Alcohol.
yes.
Talking yes.
Yes, okay.
don't blame it on the
Which is kind of worse.
alcohol.
Like if the answer of what kind of alcohol and the answer is yes, that's kind of worse than
I'm not
saying,
going to say it because I
oh,
don't
he
know
had
what he's
6
going to, but
beers.
he's
It's
doing
like he
very
had
lovely.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, I'm a couple beers in myself. What were you drinking, and how much of it is left?
the rum is
Oh, rum. Okay.
gone.
Why is the rum gone?
Because you drank it.
Pirates reference.
Addendum: the rum isn't gone. Just that bottle of rum that he
No.
was having is
Oh,
gone.
The rum is gone. Why is the rum?
My
I
bar-
kind of
gone?
want to record that specifically so I could just like, if there's ever dead air, I could just play a sound effect of Gerber saying, "Why is the rum gone?"
It's gonna
Why
be.
is it?
It's gonna be a great. It's a great line to have, anyways.
It
Yeah.
is.
Why is rum gone?
We just need the Johnny Depp clip of it. We don't need Gerber saying
This
it. We
is
just
true.
need.
This is
Correct.
true. Why is the rum gone?
How
But why the
do
rum?
I turn
Q.
Q?
I don't know Q or E. He just goes, "How do you
I'll
turn
take.
whatever?"
I'll take a
E.
Q.
Yes, I figured it out.
And a Batman symbol.
I'll take a Q, a Q, a
Wait.
third Q,
Wait,
and
Q
the
from
Batman
Star Trek.
symbol. No, that's from.
Why Jean-Luc is best? He has to put up with Q.
No, that's
Wait,
no,
we're
it's
talking
from.
about
It's from.
Q
It's from Family
James
Guy.
Bond?
I'm aware.
Okay,
And the Batman symbol.
and the Batman symbol.
I don't believe it.
Ooh.
Go tuck yourself in.
This ride looks awesome.
Yeah, he's playing Roller Coaster Tycoon right now.
right now.
Right
Yeah,
now.
right
Right now.
I think.
Yeah, bitch.
I think we're currently way tangent.
Yeah, I think that we've achieved peak
Maximum tangent velocity.
peak 11 o'clock podcast, because that is about when it is right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
And on a
it's
set
11 in the
and
morning.
now
Right
if
now.
if this was like 10 years ago,
What's
I
his
think that well, 10 years ago for me, but maybe less for you guys. But if it was a few years ago, I think that 11 o'clock would be like, oh, okay, let's start. But now it's like, okay, and
No.
Gerbs has had all his rum.
Let's go to sleep.
10 years ago would have been just like, it's
Oh,
Saturday
man.
night. I probably just finished with the swim meet and I'm tired and I've been in
Yeah,
bed for an
it's
hour.
high
and I'm-
school.
And I have high school on Monday.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't want to go back there. All right, so
Not going back.
yes, because we're just veering into all like tangents beyond tangents, even for this podcast. So I think we're going to call it a night.
No,
I don't want to.
If you would like to support the podcast, please visit patreon.com/streamofgaming, and feel free to email us at streamofgaming@gmail.com.
Or
Anything.
tweet over us at Twitter at Stream of Gaming.
This is true. We also have Twitter, and we have yet to do any streams, but we do technically have a Twitch channel. We just have to like find a time to
Yeah.
make use of it.
We need to do it, Brent.
Do it.
I mean, we all have the login
I-
info. I'm pretty sure that we all have login info. So
I
you-
love drunk Gerbs.
if you would like to drunkenly
Enhanced. The term is
Fortnite yourself at
Oh,
11
it's
o'clock
true,
at
he's
night,
enhanced.
you want a Fortnite at 11 o'clock at night after having whatever amount of rum you've had.
No.
You go ahead. Okay.
Halo.
Or Halo. Yes. That's also
Halo.
acceptable.
Play Halo with me.
I'd much rather.
The,
I think at this point,
We've
have
had-
squad.
so
Yeah.
just for the record, we have had many podcasts where we have been drinking whilst recording. It has
Not
never
to
got,
this level though.
but not to this level.
Hey
So,
now,
You're an all-star.
get your game on.
Go play.
Play.
Hey
Oh,
now.
that was too
You're an
spontaneous.
all-star.
It's a
That was
Rockstar
entirely
smack.
too spontaneous.
Oh fuck.
So before
Oh.
we go, has anyone here heard Smash Mouth All-Star All on Middle C?
Oh God, I have to look this up now.
I need to find
Look
this
this
now.
Look this up.
I
It is
will.
not
We're not
hilarious.
gonna play
It's
it now.
all get up for all of those music nerds that are watching this right now, or listening to this right now and not watching. I'm so used to it. And you were making fun of me for playing with Pongo.
Okay. All right.
Look up All Star Smash Mouth All on Middle C. The big one is on SoundCloud.
And the
So if
other
you're listening to this on
This is
SoundCloud,
amazing.
Kyle and
Kyle
I.
found it. It is hilarious, but don't show if you're not a big music geek like we are. Don't listen to it. You will not find it funny. I tried showing it to my girlfriend, who is not a big music person, and she didn't get it.
Yeah.
You're cheating.
Also, another Smash Mouth version that Kyle and I love dearly is there's one that's just called All Star, but he can never hit the correct note ever. It's all wrong notes.
Somebody wants.
Oh no, I can
No,
find
no,
that
no,
one
no, no.
too.
It's like it's auto tuned incorrectly,
I'm singing out.
Oh, God.
and it keeps switching octaves too. It's great.
We've brought it full circle.
Yes, brought full circle.
Yeah.
Oh God, why?
Yes. Oh God, why? So, as usual, I'm Brent,
I'm Kyle.
I'm Gerbs.
And I'm Marcus.
and before this goes completely, just wherever it's gonna go,
It's
this
already
is
gone there.
this has been Stream of Gaming. See you next week, guys.
Bye.
Somebody
Show.
once told the world.